You should be live. Here I am, uh, looking at myself on too many screens, and 10th Doomstar is about to launch any second now. Yeah, I'm excited for it. A little bit nervous as I always do. Though I think I tested. Oh, live event. Let's see. Is it working? Is it working? I'm checking. Let me know in the chat. I'm trying to check. Well, okay, I can hear myself on my own phone, so it's working for however many of you are out there. Um, it's not that, but yeah, Temp Dune Starter. Let's see. Is it officially live now? It says at 12 o'clock. Should have started. Yes, it's live. We can back it. No backers yet, though. No backers. We'll see who number one is. Yeah, I'm Stefan Srod. I didn't write this one. Julian Bernick sure did. He wrote an amazing 10th level adventure for Dungeon Crawl Classics. That is the 10th Doomstar. Um, but I met Julian. I've known him online for a few years, but we happened to go to North Texas RPG Con together a couple years ago now, and I think he kind of just like offhandedly mentioned that he had run a 10th level adventure once, or someone said like, there's no high level adventures, and he said, well, I did one once, and I went, Julian, let's make it happen. Um, I'll pay you for it. Write that thing. Let's get a 10th level adventure out. Let's be the first to do it. And we kept going from there. And he looked at what was like a 10-year-old draft that had been sitting in Google Docs. He ran it in at a Gen Con like once. He said, "Here it is. Here's my ideas for updating it." And I said, "That sounds great. Let's." I got a couple ideas too, you know. Um, and we collaborated a little bit, though. Of course, all the heavy lifting was on the writing portion was truly Julian. Um, and we kept going. Oh, backer number one. All right. I see it happening. Starting to roll in. But yeah, um, yeah, over a decade out, and Dungeon Crawl Classics hasn't had a 10th, with a little quibble, a caveat, hadn't had a 10th level adventure for traditional DCC games. The official Goodman release that's highest level is Colossus Arise. I actually just did a review of that over on my Substack newsletter. I've run that one a couple of times. Level 8. In Moon Mutants Issue 2, there is at a level 9 adventure, it's not written in a traditional DCC, MCC style. It's like more than an outline for sure, but less than a full adventure. And then there's Smuggler's Pass by a Sean Richard joint, Orbital Intelligence, and he did a level 10 one called Smuggler's Pass, but it's for Dungeon Grand Prix, so it's DCC, but you're going around on go karts, so a little bit different. But yeah, first traditional level 10 adventure will be the 10th Doomstar, and of course we wanted 10 in the name to kind of help reinforce that is level 10. And hey there, see you in the chat. Uh, I of course don't recognize Lamenter 40K as the name of someone I played with, but I had fun in every single playtest. I think I ran this one like 3 times. I think Julian ran it 3 times, and we got someone else to run it once as well. So we got it really polished at this point. Hey, the backer train starts. Backer number two. Excited to see it happen. Mike. All right. I'd have to look at my playtester list. There's there's so many mics. Um, Were you in one of my playtests or one of Julian's? Julian. Okay, that's why I'm like struggling to put a face to a name there. Yeah, oh yeah, Julian's a fantastic judge. I've been in a handful of his games. I've had an amazing time every time. So, yeah, to kind of overview it. Well, actually, before we overview it, I do want to throw out there, launching this. I think Tuesdays become the traditional crowd fund start day, doing it on Monday because I have the opportunity to, I'm at home, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, to uh, start that and actually do the launch party instead of being at work where I would be on Tuesday. Uh, you know, judge people by their character. There's a lot of bad stuff out there. I'm going to donate to the Immigrant Law Center of Minnesota today. I'm going to do $100, and if we make our crowdfunding goal today, I'll make that $200 instead. Wish it could be more, but I have the wealth and means that I have. So let's try to push for that, and or people go out and you do the same, or donate somewhere else that a group that's fighting the good fight. But to focus on where the thing we're really all here for, the 10th Doomstar. We got, a PDF version, of course. We got the print and PDF. We got a deluxe version that it's going to have a special judge's patch. It says a level 10 judge has like a horned cyclops skull on it. And then it'll also come with 6 stickers that say level 10 gong farmer on it. And so you can give it out. There are going to be 6 pre-gen PCs that come with this that are, printed in there, so it's easy to run this. They required a lot of tweaks over the play testing because it was like, oh yeah, this spell, we don't normally see the like 32 plus result version of Choking Cloud, but yeah, that really can. Maybe we shouldn't give the Wizard or the Elf Choking Cloud. Um, it usually doesn't break games, but it sure can here. Oh, charm person, yeah, charm people for like a year. That might change things up in a way that makes this adventure a little harder to run than it should be. So, uh, those required a lot of tweaks, and some folks may notice I said there are 6 pre-gens, no clerics, no clerics. We in that introductory text of this is what the adventure is. Well, sorry, buddies, you had 2 clerics on your way to the adventure, but they died. So, as well did all of your possible retainers you may have had. This is an adventure meant for you, not your, little level 1 or level 5, whatever your warrior helpers to be, or what you might have once had. It's about the 6 level 10 characters, um, and it is balanced around that. So we've had a lot of fun doing that and making the tweaks to the characters, being like, what can we give the halfling? Okay, let's give the halfling a magic mustache, and let's say the halfling went on a quest at some point, and now his luck spend is a 3-to-1 instead of a 2-to-1. So we've done a little bit of tweaking like that, which, hey, why couldn't you quest for that? Um, yeah, and of course we got a watcher thing. If you just want to get in here for some add-ons, or you just want to get some reminders, maybe times are tight right now. You're just gonna put in a buck now. There'll be probably a very short post campaign, opportunity to buy or to like up that pledge level or change your pledge level or add on. But this is almost entirely complete. For both the 10th Doomstar and the add on X Crawl them all. Almost entirely complete. There's like a few little tweaks that details I'm not sure folks would notice too much, but I would. Um, and they would bug me. So just trying to pretty that up. All the art is in, the layout is there. I just need to, judge those little bits. So if you want some add-ons, got just about everything it could get you that I've put out before. Everything is at a discount as well, except for the Conquest of Chaos. Too new. Sorry, folks. There's also some fun name the character class options. Just a little sponsorship if you want to, show a little bit extra support. That's really what it's there for. And you get to decide something really permanent that'll go into a 10th level adventure. Um, I'll say it's U.S. shipping only. There's a add-on of international print-on-demand coupon code. Did international shipping just up to Canada, from US to Canada for the Conquest of Chaos. It's difficult, and unless you've got basically a more expensive product that has like easier room for error on that profit margin, uh, shipping up to Canada is not always going to be feasible, and is going to be something that loses money instead of just trying to break even. So the print-on-demand coupon codes seem like the best way to make things work. So sorry I couldn't do better than that, but it just had to be the way to go this time. Let's see. X crawl them up. By the way, folks, I'm just gonna blather on over here. I have some topics written down. I'm gonna blather on about the 10th Doomstar for a while. It's probably what you guys want to listen about. But throw in questions in the chat if you are out there and listening. The premise of it, the story that Julian had is largely the same from what he originally did a decade ago at Gen Con. But essentially, there is a comet. It comes once every 10,000 years, and it is imbued with essentially chaos magic that's going to irradiate the Earth. All civilization will fall. Um, and, chaos is not necessarily good or evil, is most often portrayed as evil. So a chaos end to this does not mean all the horrible things happen, but with the pre-gens we've created, the kind of narrative that in the situation that's been created in this adventure, you're looking for law or neutral, the great balance, something not chaos to win this stay out. So half the pre-gen PCs are law and half of them are neutral. And there's opportunity for any one of those three major alignments to become the dominant one in the 10,000 years until perhaps this comet rides around and passes over the world again. That said, with there kind of being different ways you can go in this, PvP is something of a likelihood. It's written in a way that it's definitely saved for that final encounter. Certainly could happen before then. You can't trust these players out there. Um, but it's happened in every one of my playtests. But it's foreshadowed naturally through the adventure. So no one has been coming away being upset about what happened. Maybe they're a little like, I wish I was able to go first in initiative. There might be a little gripe about that, but they're not upset at the adventure. So the PvP that does happen in this has always been a lot of fun. My favorite little PvP moment is when uh, a wizard who had turned to the forces of chaos. It can happen, folks. Um, said that he was going to cast enlarge on the dwarf, the lawful dwarf, and I was going, all right, come, let's step away from the table. You got to tell me this doesn't seem like the going for chaos that I think you're wanting. You got to communicate a plan. And communicate a plan. I was like, okay, all right, I get it now. I'm on board. Enlarges the dwarf, and the dwarf has one amazing round of being 100-foot tall dwarf, absolutely annihilating and wrecking, a really powerful bad guy near the end of the adventure. And then the wizard goes, and now I cast Transference. Oh, max level transfers? Why not? Yeah, I just obliterated the dwarf's soul and have stolen his body. Now, with my second action die, I will use all of his sweet, sweet physical statistics to spell burn a whole heck of a lot and mess with the rest of the surviving party. And that was and didn't quite work out for the wizard in the end, but it was a wild, amazing way to end an adventure, like a fantastic end to a 10th level game. So really love that. Just it's been so memorable every time. And I kind of said it earlier a little bit. You really get the opportunity to create an ending that can create then another campaign. One of the three alignments is going to become a dominant force in the world. And it's written in a way so that both are, some good, some bad. If, law wins, well, tyranny is oppressive tyranny, authoritarianism is not chaos. That is law. So it puts, oh, we're going to have all these nice things. We're also going to have some of this. So no matter law, neutral, chaos, who wins? You're setting up not just for good and not just for bad. You're setting up for both. That's how the world is going to go. Which could be a really fun way. You think of what funnel you might run after that. Uh, so yeah, I'll also say layout and playtesting. We've really tried to make the 10th Doomstar as easy as we could for judges to run it. Like differences between how it was at first and now is in the first area, there's like a group of like 300 or 400 bad guys. Um, some of the frogmen that you kind of see on the cover, that beautiful Ben Mara art. There's like 300 or 400 of them. You turn each group of 100 into a swarm, and it's a lot easier for the judge to actually run at the table. Just make it a really ferocious swarm, and you aren't going, what do I roll? 100 d20s for each of their attacks? What am I supposed to do here? So we did some things like that. There's with the final encounter, we had too many really powerful bad guys at the end, and we would kind of reduce that number because it made things too complex and kind of changed things. So lessons were learned through playtesting. There's also some good judge sidebars that suggest like, hey, in this, be a little flexible because you don't know what's going to happen. Players can always be a little wild. There's also suggestions for like, hey, if that first part took too much time, skip this area and go straight to this area. If you're crunched for time, if you're doing a 4-hour concert scenario, skip to this. So we tried to make that available to judges, just little bits of advice where we could include it to really help out. We also, of course, as I'm wont to do, made it so there's not a stat block that's going to cut off at the bottom of the right page and continue on at the top left of the following page that you have to flip and turn to. All the areas are at least in one page spread, if not on one page. And only a teeny little bit of editing was required of, just making certain areas teeny bit more concise, but no true content was eliminated in the effort to make the layout as usable and just easy for the judge to run. Um, I'll throw in maybe my favorite encounter is simply because of the name of one of the enemies and an accident. Also, I once made in an adventure or when running it. There's Necrosaurus Rex. He's an undead T-Rex with a laser machine gun. Um, Once when I was accidentally allowing him to be, now he's immune to crits. But in a playtest, first one I ran, when he could be critted, well, let me find out if I can mute myself so I can cough. Sorry about that. I am unfamiliar with OBS and the means of things. But accidentally said, oh, it was like some crazy warrior or thief crit where an arrow got shot into him and it's like and his heart explodes. And I was like, oh yeah, and it starts explodes and stop beating. And then it was wait, but he's undead. Isn't his heart it's already not beating? Like, his heart briefly starts beating and then explodes. So, it's always some fun silliness. But yeah, Necrosaurus Rex. How can you not love a name like that? I will continue babbling on, but now we're going to switch to X Crawl Them All. This one I wrote as part of me getting a feeling for X Crawl as a setting and being able to research it, and writing a funnel is a good way to, get your toes wet and not bite off more than you can really chew. So that's how I started with this. Kind of did the same thing with Weird Frontiers. Wrote a funnel at first, then did a level, 2 adventure. And, I might be working on a level 2 X crawl adventure as well for my own amusements. So we'll see how that turns out. But that's at an outline. But X crawl the mall. Um, I did want something that was like a little shorter, so it runs in it's a good 2 to 3 hours. I like keeping funnels a little shorter because it's just better for an introduction. Um, if you want, you can roll characters initially with folks. You can help them level up afterwards. You have extra time to explain rules. So I like a shorter funnel for that reason. X-Crawl the Mall, it is all about kicking off the holiday shopping season. But this is, hey, we're not doing Christmas unless you're one of those monotheists in X-Crawl. That's illegal. Um, this is for Saturnalia, the traditional holiday. When there's still some gift giving and trees and all that. But really, as I said, shopping holiday season. We want folks shopping for those gifts. So the X Crawl takes place in a mall. And it's pretty fun. I've play tested it 3 or 4 times, and then I also had a couple people run it. Alex ran it on 20 sides to every story. You can find that on YouTube. He did a little tweaking at it, like a Care Bear, build a Care Bear encounter type of thing. That was really hilarious. Um, I had another judge run it as a level 1 adventure, and it works really well as a level 1 adventure as well. So good for both. Um, I have a lot of fun doing the DJ, who is he's DJ Jello Shot, and I write him as like an annoying. I run him as a loud, boisterous, dude from Florida who's probably been running wet T-shirt contests, and that's how he got his start, stuff like that. And now he's hit the big time X crawl, um, and just absolutely annoying frat bro is how I run him. Um, but one judge, I thought it was hilarious. He ran it, and he afterwards he was like, "Oh yeah, that's just a persona that he does. He's a totally chill guy, very intelligent." And so I thought that was hilarious. So you there's that looseness to run it anytime how you want or any way that you want. Um, and I got Dax Hammond to do the cover for that for X Crawl the Mall. He's done the pre-gen art for the characters in uh, the 10th Doomstar. I specifically wanted the characters to have a different look than how the rest of the monsters, all the enemies in there were drawn, just to kind of keep in with that theme of the enemies have a more chaotic look to them than the pre-gens do. And I thought that would be like keeping on theme. But he did uh, the cover for this, and their stretch goal is to get them to do gender swap versions of the pre-gen PCs in the 10th Doomstar, and a little bit of bonus art for this as well. Um, I'll say favorite encounter in X Crawl the Mall. Most people seem to love the flail snail. It's a store in the mall. You can get all sorts of weird snail or flails, not snails. Um, there's a really goofy table of different flails that you might get. Like one is a zombie head. It's gonna bite enemies, and if it kills them, they're gonna turn into a zombie. One is a ball of yarn with some knitting needles through it. Doesn't do that much damage, but that's a random flail you could get. A bunch of keys on the end of a chain. I think a bag of orange. Yeah, a bag of oranges. That's another one of them. So there's a X Crawl the Mall. It is a pretty silly adventure. There's a non-zero chance of you fighting a crystal golem that resembles Henry Kissinger. Um, yeah, that felt X Crawl for me. So I've had a bunch of fun with that. The first time I ran it was at Long Con a couple of years ago, and like halfway through, a buddy of mine was like, "Hey, I saw this guy chain smoking out in the parking lot. He's some trucker with nothing to do. Can he play in your game?" I was like, "Absolutely, yes." And the guy's like, "Yeah, I used to be like a champion Magic player like 20 years ago. What are we doing here?" And I was like, You're trying to win money and get famous. So X Crawl the Mall, really goofy little adventure. Like on the polar opposite of like what the 10th Doomstar is. I'll talk about stretch goals really quick. I've got them on the main page, but if you also look in the like community section, they are linked there. Uh, 2.5 grand going to print. That's just the basic funding level. 3,000 VTT tokens. All the existing art, original art for both of them. I'll make into VTT tokens. Um, that'll be good to have for everyone. 4K. We're going to do those gender swap versions of the pre-gen character art. So you can, if you look at the add-ons and see the like name the thief, name the warrior, you can kind of imagine what the opposite version would be of those. Oh, I see a couple of those are going quick. The wizard and the dwarf are already gone. So get in there while the getting's good, I suppose. So you can do, assuming we make that, you can do an obvious variation on a name. I don't know, Wilhelm and Wilhelma, whatever you want it to be, as long as it's not too goofy. We're not going to be having any Boblins the Goblins. That'd be a little bit too much. But yeah, I see you in the chat, my man. Um, After a warrior in one of your own campaigns, that's perfect. Yeah. Um, but yeah, so looking forward to that. Um, 6K, but some bonus art and X Crawl them all. A lot of the art, that's a $8 print adventure. It's a short thing, so the art budget was basically entirely focused towards the cover art. Inside, it's stock art on X Crawl them all. So getting some original art would be really nice in there. 7K, we're going to make those Gong Farmer stickers holographic. 8K, we're going to make the Judges stickers holographic. Judges stickers, you can buy it as a $1 add-on, but returning backers who've backed any of my previous stuff, and as long as BackerKit has a email address to correlate, you're going to get that for free. So, and if we beat that, I mean, hey, in the comments, throw me some ideas. I'm open to continuing stretch goals. Um, just let me know. Would be fun, and I'll see if there's budget for it. And then delivery. Since this stuff is like it's so almost done. Um, Delivery probably June. As soon as this is over, I'm gonna be ordering the actual print run. I'm not even gonna wait the like 2 weeks it takes for BackerKit to collect the money and send it to me. I'm gonna be making it happen as quickly as possible. So as soon as I get the money from BackerKit, everyone whose card has been successfully charged, I'm gonna be sending out the PDFs then. So this ends about a month from now, late February. You're gonna get this around the by the middle of March. You're gonna get PDFs of everything. And yes, the stickers and the patches. I hear you, Diego. I am often at Kickstarters for the same thing. Do I have my book in here? No, I've got a notebook where I write down all of my, ideas in, and it is like the cover of it is just, you can't see any of the original cover anymore. It's all covered in stickers. Um, a level 10 or higher tier MCC module of my authorship. Um, I don't ha- I've not had an idea that is really, sparked inspiration and joy for something of that. I'd be so open to it. Um, it would have to be that's tough to handle. Any 10th level adventure, but I would love it. Um, I'll also say MCC is a bit more of a niche, so I've put the budget into the beautiful art for the 10th Doomstar. I might not be able to put the same level of budget in for a 10th level MCC because the post-apocalyptic stuff just isn't as popular as the fantasy. Uh, I love it so much, but yeah, just the way things are. Yeah, if someone has an I if you know that's a tough one to pronounce. That username, Winnie a Seal 3105. But hey, if you or someone else out there has the idea for a baller 10th level MCC adventure, I will happily you know offer developmental ideas and assistance on that. I'd love to see it brought into the world. I just I'll help, but I don't know if I'm the one that has that adventure in me. Yeah, with the dude on the front, I kind of if you check out Ben Mara's website, it's linked down in the credits area. He's got some amazing art on his website. One is very reminiscent of Doom, the cover of Doom guy up on the hill of bodies. And I kind of wanted something like that, but I also kind of described something that like is a bit reminiscent, like that guy on there is a bit reminiscent of the dude on the cover of the DCC core book. You know, he could be a warrior, he could be a wizard, he's got the sword and the staff, who knows? So, I didn't give him that as a, inspiration art to look at. I just kind of described a guy who could be a little bit of both. And, so maybe this is like not the same character, but kind of like a 10th level version of that guy from the cover. Who knows what level he is anyway. Yeah, love him. And you'll see, if you look in there, you'll see we got a, you know, dinosaur head skeleton lich. That is Tricerathoth. You will find him during the course of the adventure. Uh, He is quite a powerful lich. We also have a lot of frogmen and lizardmen in the background who seem to be wielding a combination of spears and laser rifles. So, Chaos has a little bit of technology with it too. Um, so while this is not a 10th level MCC adventure, uh, there, hey, we're doing the appendix in science fantasy thing. We're mixing our peanut butter and the chocolate, the science fantasy. And I wouldn't have it any other way. I did once. I thought I was gonna have a seventh player at a playtest once, so I was like, oh, I only got 6 10 level pregens. What do I do? And did. I lost the character that I created, but I made a 10th level Plantian that had, I think it was like the phase. I had like a level 2 pre-gen or level 3 pre-gen just in my folder at this convention, and I was like, well, I'll just level this guy up. Rolled a handful of mutations and happened to get, I think it's the phase shift mutation, which implies, or it's been a couple years since this one. It was actually the first instance of me running this. Um, Not quite a couple years, about a year and a half, but has the phase shift mutation, which I think lets you like switch realities. And so like you could make some excuses for getting an MCC character in there. The seventh player ended up not showing up because it was like a late game in the night, and the dude was exhausted, went to bed. Um, but yeah, so it's somewhere. I think I accidentally trashed it, but I was ready to put a Plantian in here, so we could have a little MCC crossover into the 10th Doomstar for sure. Nothing's stopping you, folks. Nothing. Yeah. All right. Well, I've blathered on for 30 minutes. This is scheduled for an hour. I'll handle some questions. Um, but that about covers all I outlined to actually talk about. I see. Where are we at in the funding? 30% funded, about $750 dues. Let's see how many of these named ones we looking at. All right, we can name the elf and the halfling still. Folks can get on that if they want to. But the dwarf, the wizard, the warrior, and the thief have all been spoken for. All right. And I'll also add in, so I've got my everything that I've got like a physical copy of that I've made before available as an add-on. Some stuff, You can't get Merchants of the Multiverse in print because I'm out of it. Um, Everything's at a pretty good discount, especially like Mysteries of the Multiverse. That's at a nice discount, just $7 for that zine. Because I printed a whole lot of them, maybe too much. No cleric Diego. Um, the man that 10th level bless just it or the a level 10 character casting bless, they're gonna nail it. Especially you have a halfling around. The cleric at high levels is more broken than a wizard or an elf. Absolutely is. So no cleric. Um, but to finish up on the add-ons, I do have a few things from other people as well. So I've got a few things from Luau Lu, split, Dandelion Games. So check that out. I've got the Wanting Wizard. I've got Hell Train. I've got the one copy of Prisoner's Secret Overlord that got snapped up. But yeah, if you need Secrets of the Unknown or the Time Lost Citadel, that's in there, and you can get it from suppose save on shipping. Um, and I've got some remaining copies of The Conquest of Chaos, of course. But yeah, uh, no clerics. Julian tried that, and he quickly realized they were the worst by being the best. So if you want to make a 10th level cleric and add it to your game, uh, go to Purple Sorcerer. You can make it happen. I wouldn't suggest it because they'll be like, oh, well, here I will do a max level bless. Everyone is going to get like plus 13 to all their attack rolls and checks until we finish this quest here. Um, I mean, they're just going to steamroll things then. I think if we added a cleric, we would need to add in something to essentially make to just penalize everything the cleric did and say, oh, the forces of chaos are super against you, so, constant disapproval and you're at one die, to a point where to make it so the cleric wouldn't just break the game, that it would make the cleric less fun to play. So, um, and also because there's a little bit of law and neutrality, you've got half and half, three PCs on each of those teams working together. It's better to have those teams equal in power at the start because there might be a little bit of backstabbing at the end. So, there might just maybe. So, but yeah, so having those numbers be even helpful. All right, ooh, $1,000. We're getting there. I'll also say check out that layout preview. Only got one piece by Peter Mullen, but hey, I wanted to show that off. It looks so amazing there. Um, it's in the bottom right of the layout preview if you scroll down on the main story page, the campaign page. It looks amazing. Bows and Awe did most of the rest of the art on the inside. I've worked with him for, met him on the Gong Farmer's Almanac, worked with him on Quarantine back when we were trying to make like a charity zine during, COVID lockdown times for folks who are really affected by that. And so working on him at like the start of my, you know, publishing, writing career, whatever we want to call this little side hustle I've managed to scrape together. Um, Thought, hey, level 10 adventure. He was there at the start. Not that this is the end, but it's the the upper end of DCC. I wanted to get him on it for this. And Ben Mara was a request by Julian, and I was like, yeah, he looks amazing. That art is astounding. Um, and yeah, check out his website. He's got a lot more amazing art. Ben Mara was also on an episode of Between Two Cairns in the not too distant past. Seems like a pretty cool guy. And I'll also throw out, hey, I did the editing and the layout for the 10th Doomstar, and the layout for and the writing for X Crawl Them All. Matt Robertson, some eagle-eared viewers uh, might know him from around the DCC community. Um, Done a couple adventures under Split the Party Games. He was a Gong Farmers Almanac administrator. He's the Texas region convention rep for Goodman Games, and he's just a really involved guy with the community. He's got his finger in so many pies, and I already mentioned Dax earlier, and of course, Julian. I've been mentioning Julian the whole time. Y'all know who Julian is. Um, yeah, he's an astounding writer. So when he told me that he had an idea for a 10th level adventure, I said let's make it happen. Um, yeah, I don't have too much more to say. So unless I'll give about 30 seconds for folks to throw me a question or two in the chat. But if I don't see that, I'm gonna sign off in a minute. I will add it again. I said it early in the stream. A lot of hardships out there. I'm going to donate $100 to the Immigrant Law Center, Minnesota, later today. If we make our funding goal, I'm gonna up that to $200. It's what my wealth and means can make happen. If you've got wealth and means to make something like that happen too, I encourage you to try to help out the world in what ways you can. Well, I don't see any chatty folks in the chat, so that's it. I'm signing off. Bye, folks. I'll see you around. We'll see about maybe doing a stream at the end of this. I've got it kind of later on at, this scheduled to end at night so that there could be an ending stream as well. Um, and I'll also add I'm sure y'all know about it. Goodman Games is doing their Pinball Classics Kickstarter, or not Kickstarter, dang it. I'm on the same platform, their backer kit. So, take a look at that if you're interested. Spellburn is on tonight. They're going to be talking about that. And of course, Julian is one of the hosts of Spellburn. And he's the writer of this whole shebang. So, get in the chat Spellburn later, and I'm not saying antagonize him. Maybe flatter him, leave him speechless with your adoration. That's what you should do. That's what you should do. All right. Well, see y'all. Bye, folks.